Everybody, welcome to Quartzville Railroad video number 11. This video is going to be the first of a four-part series that I'm doing on operations on my layout. This episode is about some of the track work that I have in place on my layout, the switches, the trailing point, and the facing point, some runaround tracks, and some other things that I've done with the track work on my layout. The future videos are going to talk about how I set up the industries on my layout for operations, and then another one on how I set the actual cars up for operations. And then the final video of the four-part series will be an actual operating session where I go out there and operate and show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm moving things around. So I hope you enjoy the video. If this video is of interest to you, I'd appreciate if you would consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. It really makes my day whenever I get a new subscriber to my channel, so I appreciate if you would consider doing that. So let's get on with the video. Okay, so one of the first things you have to think about when doing operations and setting up your model railroad for operations is trailing point switches versus facing point switches. And I'm going to show you that over here in just a little bit. I'm also going to show you about a runaround track and how that can definitely help things one way or the other, which I have set up over there in the warehouse area. So let's get to it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about here is a trailing point switch, because it really is the easiest way to do switching on a model railroad, probably in a real railroad too. So I'm going to demonstrate here with this locomotive and this boxcar and try to get it up here onto this track, which is appropriately called the cement plant. So let's pretend in this operation scenario, the cement plant wants the boxcar of something there. Maybe empty, may have stuff in it, whatever. This switch back here, from the perspective of the locomotive, is a trailing point switch because it's going to pass it and then be trailing behind it in order to drop the boxcar off. So let me demonstrate that. I've got this all set up. So we're going to run the train forward here. Here it goes. There we go. And then we'll stop it on the other side of the switch, throw the switch, which I will do there, put it in reverse, and bring the boxcar up, slow it down, and then I will detach the boxcar with my very expensive wood stick here, and then proceed forward out of there. Get the locomotive out and on its way. All we have to do is throw the switch here again, and it's back to mainline operations. So trailing point switch is pretty easy to either to drop off or pick up cars. And if I was going to pick up the boxcar, it'd be just the opposite plan. I would just run the locomotive into the track, pick up the boxcar, and move on. So let's now switch the scenario and have it be a facing point switch and show you where the problem lies. Okay, so now we're going to look at it as a facing point switch. So same scenario, same cement plant, same locomotive here with the same boxcar that we'd like to try to get the boxcar delivered up to the cement plant. And now, because this is a facing point switch, there is no way to, well, you can get the boxcar delivered, which I can go ahead and do that now. We'll just throw the switch here. There we go. And we'll run it up there. And that'll work. No problem. Just one slight little problem here. There's no way to get the locomotive out. The track ends up there at the top. It's stub-ended. It doesn't come around and meet again. So basically, the locomotive is now stuck behind it, which you probably don't want to do unless you have some kind of a locomotive facility up at the end, or that's where you store locomotives. So this is a potential issue that you have to work through when you're designing your layout. But it could be a good one. In the case of how I've designed this part, the only way that the cement plant can be serviced is with cars and locomotives coming in this way, not this way. So that's going to be one of the operating things. Just so you know, the yard is literally just a few feet that way, the full main yard for this. So it's going to have to go all the way around the layout in order to get here to service the cement plant and then have a short ride back to the yard. So let me reset the camera here and show you how you can deal with facing point switches with a runaround track. Okay, so we're now on the other side of the peninsula from where we were a few minutes ago. Got a similar scenario to a facing point switch. I've got the same locomotive, got the same boxcar, and this is the facing point switch we need to use to go into there, to go through the crossing, and end up at the warehouse, which is where we want to drop the boxcar off. Problem's going to be with this is if we just follow it straight through, we can get the boxcar up to the warehouse, but then the locomotive will be stuck behind it because there's no way to get out here on the backside. It just goes to an end, and before the main line goes there into the tunnel. So that's not going to work too well. But we have a solution in this case. On this side, I have a runaround track built to where all this can be switched regardless of the direction that it's heading. So what I'm going to basically do is move this boxcar out on the other side of the switch, run the locomotive all the way around, and then essentially push the boxcar up into the warehouse. So we'll just do that right now. I've got everything set up. So what I'm gonna do first is push this boxcar, pull the boxcar past this switch right here, because that's where we need to get. So let me go ahead and move everything forward here a little ways. And that's good enough right there. I will separate these two with my very expensive shish kebab skewer. And now I'm going to run this thing, run the locomotive out to the main line. So I got to check my switches and make sure they're good. So that one's good. That one's good. So that'll put us out on the main line. There it goes. Yeah. And then once we're out on the main line, I can stop it. Throw this switch back, so now we're going to run around on this track here. Let me check all the switches. Got that one. We need to switch back. Okay, so now we'll run it in reverse and run the locomotive back. Here he comes. And all we need to do is just get it just past this switch here. And there we go. Come on, guy. Stop there for a second. All right, so now I will throw this switch and also the one up here on the other side of the crossover. Actually, it was already, no, it wasn't. There we go. Now it's set. So that it'll end up back on this track as you would expect it. And then all I'm going to do is run it into here to basically connect again with this boxcar, but from the other side. So we'll go forward now. And we'll run the locomotive up there. Get it good and solid. There we go. And I think we got a good connection there. Let me check. Nope, not quite. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to run this in reverse. And instead of reversing back onto the crossing, or another crossover and back out here onto the main line, I'm going to set it to where it's just going to use this straight stretch of track that we have. So I'm going to need to throw that switch. And then we'll go in reverse and bring it backwards. There it goes. And then once we clear this switch, I can stop it. Throw this one. So now we're going to go up onto this track and then go forward into that, across the crossing, and to the warehouse. There we go. I'll go ahead and stop that. We'll disconnect. There we go. And then we just have to reverse out of there. There it goes. And we'll just come all the way out here to this secondary track. There we go. So from here, I could back all the way out onto the main line if I wanted to, or keep running on this track to get out to the main line, or if I had locomotive storage facilities, I could park it at that point, whatever the case may be. But that's the way that you can switch a facing point, or anyway, that's the way you can spot cars with a facing point switch, as long as you have the runaround track to do that. All right, thank you very much for watching Quartzville Railroad video number 11. I really do appreciate it. Hope you learned something about how I set up the track work on my layout for operations. And we got 3 more videos coming about how I do operations on my layout, including a full operating session, which I'll have posted in a few weeks. So thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good day.